What is up, guys? From Sales Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, and social well-being. And today, guys, I'm going to be giving you 3 reasons as to why I believe RPE only based programming is suboptimal at best and just hardly effective at all at worst. Now, the reason that I want to do this video, guys, is there's 2 reasons. One, there's lots of coaches and athletes out there that kind of perpetuate this idea that RPE is just so superior to percentage-based training, and therefore they go into the idea that RPE only based programming is going to be better than doing, percentage-based programming or a combination of RPE and percentage-based programming. And reason number 2 is that a lot of you guys have seen that I do different videos over RPE, how RPE can be useful in combination with percentage-based programming. We're talking about top sets and back down sets, why RPE can be useful with your accessory work, and how to gauge and make sure you're still ensuring progression while using RPE on your accessory work. And due to that, a lot of you have been asking me if I believe that, like, hey, Swolefessor, why don't you do RPE only based programming, or why doesn't Brendan give you RPE only based programming since you seem to like RPE so much? And the reason for that, guys, is that I believe RPE is simply one tool in the toolbox that needs to be utilized with other tools in order to maximize your results. I'm a big believer in using RPE and percentage-based programming combined because that is what I've seen to yield the most effective results. But if I had to rank it, I would say RPE and percentage-based programming, and then RPE only based programming as far as ranking them. A lot of people would think that RPE only programming would be second, but I have it way at the bottom, and I actually have it much lower than where the RPE and percentage based combination and percentage only based programming are. So let's kind of get into the 3 reasons why. And there's more than these 3 reasons, but these 3 reasons kind of give you the total idea of the grand scheme of things of why I think it's not very effective. So reason number 1, guys, is that RPE only based programming does not ensure structured progressive overload. Now, the reason I use the word structured, and a lot of you who've seen my older videos on progressive overload know where I'm going with this. If you say, let's say for a training month, like for an entire month, you do the same sets and the same reps and the same weight on all your movements for almost like that entire month, but then that very last week, you on one of your movements you add 5 pounds to the bar, or you do one more rep, or you do one more set, you technically progressively overload for that training block. However, that's not the same thing as structured progressive overload, where we are ensuring that either, depending on where your lifting level is and what your goals are, either from session to session or week to week or block to block, we are making sure that we have structured progressive overload, where we are consistently increasing that workload to the form of weight on the bar, total sets, reps. We have to make sure that we're doing that, because structured forms of progressive overload, we're ensuring that total workload is increasing at a certain rate, is always going to be more efficient than just randomly doing more weight because we feel good that day. But with RPE only based programming, you have no way to ensure that, because it's purely based off RPE. If you have 3 sets of 8 at RPE 6 one week, you may do that with 200 pounds. Let's say you have 3 sets of 8 at RPE 6 the following week for the same day, you might do it with 190 pounds. Maybe you didn't get as much sleep the night before. Maybe you're just not feeling as good that day for whatever the specific reason is, so you have to scale it back. So in that case, you forget progressive overload, you are regressively overloading at that point, right? Like you're doing less weight, or you might just end up doing the same weight over and over and over and have no way of ensuring progression. Now, that's why I said it's one thing if we have like RPE based top sets where, hey, for whatever reason, I just wasn't feeling good, so I had to scale it back a little bit, because if I'm just trying to get you to get a certain level of exertion, RPE, rate of perceived exertion, then whether your RPE 8 was, 200 pounds or 190 pounds, doesn't matter if you're getting that exertion I want, because if I have percentage-based back down sets that ensure that you're progressing from week to week, we still know that that total workload is going to be going up every single week. More workload, more strength, more muscle mass. You guys know how that works. But with RPE-based only training, you have no way to ensure that. It's pretty much when you're feeling really good, you're gonna push it, but then when you're feeling bad, you're gonna either stick where you were or scale it back. So if you have just 4 straight sets of RPE, you may end up doing the same weight over and over and over, because that's just what feels true to the RPE for you. So you're not ensuring structured progressive overload. That's problem number 1. Reason number 2, guys, is that when it comes to RPE and percentage-based programming combined, the benefit of throwing some RPE work in there is that it allows us to have a good idea of controlling our overall volume, our workload, our fatigue. Once again, exertion is key when it comes to fatigue. But the good thing is I can look at a RPE and percentage-based program combined and go, okay, when I give him a top set of 3 at RPE 8, and then I give him this percentage of his back down work, I know that he's still able to do this much work 2 days later on the same movement, right? Like, for the mere fact that, because I see the actual numbers, right? Regardless of what his top set of RPE 8 is for 3, if I give him 3 back down sets of 6 at 70%, I know, hey, it's always gonna be 3 times 6 times whatever 70% is. Let's go with 225. I know what the total workload is for 3 by 6 times 225. I just have to multiply those numbers together. However, if I simply give you 3 sets of 6 with RPE 6, then the volume is gonna be all over the place. One day you might do 3 by 6 with 200 pounds. Another day might be 3 by 6 with 225 pounds, or maybe you'll do that first set with 225 pounds, but then you got to lower the weight to make sure you stay true to the RPE. So it's just not going to be as good as ensuring if I give your back down sets of just, hey, 3 by 6 at this percentage, I know how much total workload you've done on that day. I have a much better idea of it versus you sporadically changing the load on the bar. There's a huge difference, guys, between 3 sets of 10 with 200 pounds and 3 sets of 10 with 225 pounds. Just add those numbers together. The total workload is different. Therefore, you aren't really able to manage the workload, so you're not really able to manage the fatigue, and therefore you can't predict what you need to do as far as making adjustments with the programming. That's the whole thing with RPE. It's good to have certain aspects of your programming that you can adjust for, but we still want those kind of, you know, more like solid objective numbers that we have in there. So it's kind of the same reason with why, hey, you can't ensure structured progressive overload. You really can't ensure structured total workload in general. If you can't control the workload, then you can't account for fatigue. And then reason number 3, guys, is going to be that it simply comes down too much on the dependency of the discipline of the athlete, right? Let's be honest, you're gonna have certain days where you go in and you just don't feel like pushing it on your training. You're gonna have other days where you go in and you really wanna kill it. If I give you a certain amount of sets and reps based upon a certain percentage, regardless of how you're feeling, you know, hey, I have to hit 3 sets of 5 at 80%. That's just what I have to do. You're gonna go in there, you're gonna do regardless of how you're feeling. But if I give you, you know, 3 sets of 5 at a certain RPE, one, I have no way of like, if you're feeling really good, let's be honest, a lot of people may wanna overshoot that. Or if they're feeling really good, maybe they'll be true to it. But the reality is, let's say you're not feeling all that great. You might not push it as much as you really should. You might undershoot that RPE. So it's just way too subjective as far as like it comes down to that athlete has to be on top of everything. They have to be on top of their sleep, their eating, the recovery to ensure that they're following these RPEs. Even if I try to structure RPE in a linear fashion, like, hey, week 1 is RPE 6, is sets of RPE 6, week 2 is sets of RPE 7s, week 3 is sets of RPE 8s. There's no way of knowing that that athlete isn't gonna do something throughout the week that's gonna make them have to pull back their RPE 8s to where it's even less than what their RPE 7s were the week before. So there's nothing wrong with, you know, wanting your athlete to be disciplined. You have to be if you're utilizing RPE in any regard, but it's way easier to screw up if all your stuff is based off RPE than if you have certain specific sets which are based upon RPE and then the rest is based upon percentage-based work where you go in and do it regardless. No matter how tired or beat up someone may feel, you're gonna probably be able to manage 3 back down sets of 5 with 62%. And if they're not able to, that's okay, because look, we can go in that week and we can be like, hey, all right, you know what? Since you're looking kind of fatigued, let's lower it from 62% to like, you know, 58%. We can adjust the percentages if we need to compensate for recovery. But if we're already doing 3 sets of 6 at like, you know, RPE 6, then if I put it at RPE 5, there's no way to ensure that you're still gonna, like, you know, actually do less workload, because maybe the amount of weight you're doing for RPE 5 feels better than what you were doing for RPE 6 the week before, simply due to how fatigue and recovery goes. And so it's just too subjective. It comes down too much to like the athlete has to know their body perfectly well. I don't care how long you've been doing this, that's just not a very well structured way of going about it. So what it comes down to, guys, is that there's just no consistency with it. And even though yes, there are athletes out there who do RPE only programming and they seem to do well, keep in mind, we're not talking about, oh, well, this guy does RPE only based programming, he's stronger than this guy, so it must work. No, it's all relative. All comes down to the individual. It's not about if you're stronger or weaker than somebody else. It's, are you maximizing your results? Are you consistently getting stronger over the weeks, the months, the years? You shouldn't be stuck, guys, doing the same weight for the same sets and reps, or being stuck at the same max for years at a time. That's a problem. You shouldn't have the same max as you did a year ago on your lift if you actually have good, well-structured programming. With RPE only based programming, there's no way to ensure that. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That is why I'm opposed to RPE only based programming. Hope that all made sense. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and leave a comment down below, let me know what you did. If you're not, leave a comment down below, let me know what I can do better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.